was nice of him.
Yeah. All right, let's see. We're live. Yeah, good evening and welcome to another edition of Sports Corner. My name's Ralph Williams. We're live here on YouTube and on Facebook. And my special guest tonight is Leo Haggerty. Leo's from Tampa and he covers the Buccaneers. And we're going to talk a little bit about the Buccaneers, get to know what's going on with their team because they have to come and play Pittsburgh, get his opinion about our new name of Heinz Field, and a whole lot more. Leo, I understand Rob Gronkowski retired. He's from this area. He went to Woodland Hills High School and then to Arizona. And then he was playing with Tampa for a little while there and with the Patriots. Do you think he'll ever come back, or do you think money will bring him back, or do you think he's firm as what he says?
Yeah, never say never. And you know what, Ralph? Here's something no one talks about. I don't think any player has won 3 Super Bowls with 3 different teams. I got a feeling Gronk may sit around and see, hey, if Buffalo's running strong, if Tampa Bay's running strong, he may want to come back with number 12. Or if he sees Green Bay running strong, 3 different teams on Super Bowl rings, that would pretty much cement a legacy in Canton, I think.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it would. Do you think do you think Vince McMahon would take him back in the WWE? Because, I mean, he niched that contract that he signed with the WWE to go back to Tampa. Do you think that Gronk would go back to the WWE if McMahon asked him?
Absolutely. Again, Vince knows that the color of the United States is not black, white, yellow, or brown.
It's green
with a lot dead presidents on it. And Gronk will bring dead presidents into his business. So, yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
I don't think there's any question about that.
Well, I think, to be honest with you, Leo, I think he needs to bring in Gronkowski because, a lot of people are frustrated with some of the talent that he's had lately, Vince McMahon. But we'll get back to the Buccaneers. What's the story on Todd Bowles, or what's the jury on him? Do you think he's going to do well this year, better than what he did when he was with the Jets?
Oh, anybody does better than with the Jets. And again, someone brought this up and said, he didn't succeed with the Jets. Who has? And again,
yeah, exactly. Exactly.
It's just a bad organization run by bad people. And again, you're not going to succeed in a situation like that. So again, Todd Bowles walks into a ready-made playoff product. I'm not saying Super Bowl, but if 12 stays healthy and after game 17 he can get under center for a playoff game, they got as good a chance as anybody else as getting the ring.
My guest is Leo Haggerty. We're here at Sports Corner, live on YouTube and Facebook. And also your comments are welcome in the comments section, as always. And I am Ralph Williams, Pittsburgh's Forgotten Son. And Leo Haggerty is the beat writer for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Also, Leo, what was the situation between Brady and Bruce Arians?
You know what, Ralph, it was the normal coach-player situation. There are going to be times of friction. There's going to be times that one see it one way and one see it the other. And again, that's not surprising. If you played football, I played in college. I scouted college. I scouted the pros. It's not all, love and kisses and chocolates. It's right. Going to be times where it's a little bit, testy. And that's what it is. Now, if we talk about did Grady put the parameter, that's my SAT word of the night for anyway, Ralph, on coming back only if Bruce left, I don't think that came out of his mouth, but I think it got to be a quid pro quo. Okay, Tom wanted to go to Miami. I don't think there's any question about that. And Arians put the kibosh on that right away. He said, sure, you can go to Miami, 3 number ones. That's what it's going to cost him. And then Brady came back and the Bucs said, well, if you're going to come back, you'll play with us. He said, okay, fine. And I got a feeling some of his people in the back room said, well, he'll come back if Arians is not the coach anymore. And I don't think it ever came out of Brady's mouth, but I think it came out of his group that, you know what, I would come back, but I'd be more susceptible to coming back if Bruce wasn't the head coach. And you just promoted Todd Bowles because he has a great relationship with the offensive coordinator here.
Great. Oh, yeah, yeah. The offensive coordinator is Byron Leftwich, who was a backup here in Pittsburgh. And, I think he should have got the head coaching job in Jacksonville, but that's just my opinion.
You know
What's
what,
your
Ralph?
thoughts on Byron Leftwich?
Ralph, did you hear the behind the scenes stuff with that? They
Yeah,
asked
I
Byron,
did hear that. Yes.
Yeah, they asked Byron in the interview, what would you do? I said, fire the general manager.
Right.
That didn't sit right with him, but guess what? That's what they should do. Because,
Right.
hey,
Right.
the coach does the cooking. He doesn't buy the groceries.
Yeah, that's a good one there, Leo. I like that, and you're right. And Jacksonville's been bad. Miami has been bad, but Tampa's managed to stay put with good drafts, good management, good coaching. What's your thoughts on Bruce Arians staying on as a consultant or whatever he's doing?
I think that was the quid pro quo. Yeah, Bruce said, I'll leave, but I gotta have a position somewhere, so they created one. And again, he probably helps with the draft. The guy knows talent. There's no doubt about it. He's been around the league, and what he also knows is quarterbacks. You know, he was up there with you guys with Big Ben. He was out in Arizona with Kurt Warner. He was down here with Tom Brady. He can tell if there's a guy coming, because there's this big rumor that Jimmy Garoppolo is coming to Tampa. I don't think.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about that. You took the words out of my mouth. I was going to ask you what the story was on that.
I don't think there's a snowball's chance in South America of that happening, simply because John Lynch is no dummy. He's not going to give away Garoppolo. It's going to cost you, I figure, a third round, a second rounder, or it's going to cost you a third rounder and 2 starters, and the Buccaneers don't have those pieces to put together.
I see. What's your thoughts on the draft this year with Tampa? Do you think they had a good draft, or do you think they needed something, or they had to get more out of some people, or and the free agents and whatnot?
Well, you know what, Ralph? There's a lot of talent still here. Now, I would have re-signed Ndamukong Suh simply because he was the most double-team player in the National Football League. Now, think about that. They're double-teaming him. You can't single block Vita Vea. So 4 guys are blocking 2. Hey, it's simple math. One of the guys in the offense got the ball. Okay, that's 5. That leaves 6 playing against 9. I like those odds. Now, they drafted a defensive tackle out of Houston. They also signed Akeem Hicks out of Chicago, which it was the death knell for Ndamukong Suh. We'll see how that works out. But again, the 3-4 defense that Todd Bowles employs really does a great job of keeping linemen from getting to that second level, to get to Devontae and to get to Devin White. Those guys pretty much run free as inside linebackers, and they make a lot of tackles and they cover up a lot of sins.
On the offense, what do you think the support group is for Brady this year? Could you tell us? I mean, like his wide receivers and his Fortnite's still there, correct?
Oh, yeah. Everybody's intact. They lost one coach. He left, but it was like a quality control coach. Everybody else is there. They promoted Coach Godwin, I think it is, the defensive coordinator. But that's kind of like Bill Muir being the offensive coordinator when John Gruden was here. That's just to move the meeting along. Todd Bowles is going to call the defense. That's just the way it is. And I can't believe how many people are going, oh, that's a terrible move. Look at the Super Bowl. Those 2 head coaches called every offensive play. What's the difference between that and defense? Come on, guys.
Exactly.
Get with the program.
Well, we have Brian Flores on our staff here in Pittsburgh for the Steelers, and then we also have Mike Tomlin, and they just promoted, someone to a defensive coordinator's position. So there's going to be 3 minds involved in our defense this year, and when you guys come to play us, I think it's going to be a really good game. Our defense is pretty shored up this year, and I believe we just signed James Ogawachu, or I can't pronounce his name for the life of me. But anyway, we just signed him, and so to shore up our defensive line, we got Cam Hayward. I think the Steelers are going to be pretty good this year. And that, what's your thoughts on the Cleveland Browns? I mean, they're in our division and all, and I know you don't see them very much, but how about this situation? They just traded Baker Mayfield. Now they're down to Jacoby Brissett for their quarterback because Deshaun Watson's going on suspension. What do you think about that?
You know what, Ralph? I'm going to be one of the few people in the world that will be really surprised if Deshaun Watson gets a long suspension. Here's why. He hasn't committed a crime. Whether you like it or not,
Not right,
there
right.
was no crime committed. And the NFL is setting a hugely bad precedent on saying, okay, we're suspending you for a year for two reasons. One, hasn't committed a crime. Two, you got Daniel Snyder sitting back there in Washington with about enough paper on him to put him away for a long time. So again, I think the NFLPA, I think they're going to say to the NFL, okay, fine, you want to go after Deshaun Watson, you better go after Daniel Snyder.
Right.
And I kind of think this is like Congress. They don't like to go after their own. So
yeah, exactly. Right.
Yeah, again,
right.
I think Deshaun Watson may see 4 or 6 games. Everybody's saying a year to 2 years down here. I said, hey, for not committing a crime, that's a huge, huge precedent you're setting.
All right, Leo. Those of you just tuning in, Sports Corner here with Ralph Williams, Pittsburgh's Forgotten Son, and we have Leo Haggerty with me from Tampa. He covers the Buccaneers. Leo, what's the offensive line? We just signed Mason Cole. He was with you guys for a little while. What's Mason Cole like?
Yeah, he's an okay guy. He's a guy. I mean, nothing special. But you know what?
Yeah.
Sometimes those guys need to play. And that's what we saw last year when Stinney stepped in 2 years ago when Kappa got hurt and they won the Super Bowl. Again, as long as you don't have to ask him to play 12, 14, 16 games, that'll be fine. But if you're asking them to do that, they're not used to doing that with their body, and that could cause a problem down the road.
Yeah, it could. What's your thoughts on our new stadium name change? What's your thoughts on that?
What did they change it to now, Ralph?
Acrisure Insurance from Michigan. It's one of our minority owners of the team. He has some stake in it. I think he has stock in the company or whatever. And then come to find out that this company is run by Greg Williams, who used to be the defensive coordinator for a whole bunch of teams and was involved in that New Orleans Saints thing with that bounty. Remember that? And the fines and all that? Yeah.
Guys made money. You know, it's funny you should bring that up because I don't think Williams was the only guy who was putting out bounties back then. I think Buddy Ryan, when I was in Philadelphia, I think there were some, it may not have been hundreds of thousands of dollars, but there were some things, it was some things traded if some people did what they were supposed to do. And again, I'm not into this changing the names. I mean, that's Three Rivers to me. It'll always be Three Rivers to me. It'll always be Heinz Field, you know, and it just changes the name. Hey, what the heck? Pittsburgh's going to show up in black and gold. And that's the whole thing about being a Pittsburgh fan. You just got to figure out what black and gold shirt you're going to wear that says either Steelers, Penguins, or Pirates, right?
Pirates, yeah. There you go. By the way, I don't know if you follow the Rays very well. What's your thoughts on their season this year?
Well, they're just hanging around because they had pitchers hurt galore. But if the playoffs start tomorrow, they'd be in. And I'll tell you what, I do not want to play Tampa Bay in the playoffs because they'll start running those openers out at you. And that's all they need to do is to win that first 3-4 innings. And then all of a sudden they go to a lot of arms that are throwing it at 97, 98, 99.
Wow. What's the story with their stadium down there? I heard there's some controversy involving it. St. Pete don't want it there. They want to build a new one in Tampa. Is that true, or what's the story with that?
Well, you know what, Ralph? The biggest problem is the owner, Stu Sternberg. You know, it's almost like watching a repeat of Major League. You know, if you watch the movie Major League, they wanted to lose. It's like he wants to lose so he can move the team. And then Ralph Manfred, the commissioner, came out and said, you know, hey, Tampa Bay, you need to get on the stick and build this guy a stadium. My question, if I was at that interview and they didn't let anybody in there, was, or what? What are you going to do? There's no place to go. You're not going to Montreal. There isn't another city in the country that you can move a baseball team to. Now, the problem is Stu wants the city and the county to build him a stadium. I don't care if it's the Buccaneers. I don't care if it's the Steelers, the Eagles. That's not happening anymore. You're not going to get 100% tax money to build you a stadium. You're going to have to fork up some money. Well,
Yeah.
Stu doesn't want to
Oh,
fork
yes.
that up. Well, right now, we're saying, hey, tough beans, pal. That's not happening.
Right. Yeah, I hear the field is like artificial. It's like a real bad surface or something, and I hear it's it's not it's a relic more or less. Is that the case?
Hey, it's got a roof over it. That's the important thing. I love the people from Boston that come down and say, "Oh, your place is a dump." Then I go to Fenway Park and I go, "What are you thinking here? This place is an atrocity." Yeah, that's great.
Wow.
You've got a left field where you can roll the garage door up and people can sit there in a bar and watch the game at field level. I'm going, come on, just be happy. And you know what, Ralph? If you were to Old Yankee Stadium, what you saw on camera was pristine. The field, the Monument Park, you got out in those hallways, man, oh man, it was like it's crumbling right down. You couldn't get you and me down that hallway together.
Wow. All right. What's your thoughts, Leo, on the Lightning? I know they lost in the Stanley Cup. What's it look like for next year for them?
Oh, it looks good. They're going to have their core players signed again. And you know what, Ralph? If you remember back in the NFC Championship game with the Buccaneers and the St. Louis Cardinals, the Bert Emanuel rule where the catch, he made the catch, and I'll take this to my grave. He caught the ball, fell down. The tip of the ball hit the ground, and the NFL did not want the Buccaneers in the Super Bowl because they didn't want a 6-3 Super Bowl because that's what it would have been.
Right,
and that year they passed what was called the Bert Emanuel rule. If you got control of the ball, if you fall down, it hits. I think you're going to see what we call the 7-man rule down here, where Colorado scored in Game 4 with 7 men on the ice.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, that was interesting there.
Yeah, Ralph, I'm not going to blame the referees. You got 2 linesmen looking at the line. You got the referees, one watching the puck, one watching everybody. You can't count to 6. And I'll tell you what, I walked out of Amalie Arena after Game 4, and the officiating crew was just outside the door I walked out, and they all looked like somebody shot their dog. They were upset. They were totally upset. In fact, the NHL had to come out at 1:30 in the morning and say, this is not.
Oh, my.
Well, it's going to become reviewable. They've got to do that because it happened again in Game 5 and it happened again in Game 6, where the first time, okay, you make a mistake. The second time, right, this is planned. And I think Colorado planned it. And again, for you hockey fans, don't get me wrong. There are plenty of times where there's 7 and 8 people on the ice, but that's when the team with the puck is not attacking. They're in their defensive zone. When you are attacking with the puck, you better only have 6 on the ice. Colorado had 7. It was obvious, and they let it go.
Wow. One other thing I wanted to ask you was about Tampa Bay, and I just remembered about they're coming out with their old uniforms this year. What's your thoughts on that?
Oh, Buccaneer Bruce and the Creamsicles. Yeah, that'll be a real throwback time. It'll be fun. And you know what, Ralph? While we're talking about that, people down here are talking 16-1, 17-0. Okay, let's get that thought out of everybody's mind. I think the best bet in Vegas is to take a prop bet saying no team in the NFL will win 14 or more games. I would even go to 13. I think you're going to see a few teams, Buffalo, maybe Tampa Bay, maybe Green Bay, not the Rams. They're in a tough division. Maybe one, Los Angeles, the Chargers. Cincinnati, no, they're in a meat division too. That's not going to happen. No. I think, and Ralph, I want to come back on your show at the beginning of December. I think when December rolls around, in both the NFC and the AFC, there will be at least 8 and maybe 10 teams with a legitimate chance to go to the playoffs. I think you're going to see a lot of 6-win to 8-win teams going into December. That's just the nature of the beast. You're playing different nights. You're playing different days. Some people in different countries. Ralph, you're going to love this. You know who's got the best schedule going? The Detroit Lions. They play every game on Sunday
on
at noon
Sunday.
or 1 o'clock.
Wow.
How would you like
Jeez.
that? Because
Yeah, you know what though? The Lions might not look too bad this year. You know, Stan Campbell's second year. We'll see what he does. Atlanta, I don't know what they're going to look like. They just got rid of Matt Ryan, and so we'll see what Atlanta does with Arthur Smith. That whole division down there where Tampa is it's going to be interesting. Carolina, they got Baker Mayfield now, and they still have Sam Darnold, but you got Matt Rule walking on eggshells because I think Tepper's getting ready to give him the boot after this season, I believe. Wouldn't you think?
he's got to win. He doesn't have to
Yes.
make it to the playoffs, but he's got to win. I'll tell you the interesting scenario down here, Ralph, is Jameis Winston in New Orleans. If Jameis gets a full season in, he lines up 17 games,
Right.
they're going to be 10-7, maybe better. Again,
Right.
everybody tells, he threw 36 interceptions. He threw 30 touchdowns and 5,000 yards that same season. You know what? That's not chicken feed. That's not chopped liver. The kid can
No.
play.
Yes, he can.
What we found interesting is every time they would put a camera on him, you look at the scoreboard, he was squinting. He had vision trouble. He finally was able to get LASIK the first year he was down
Wow.
in New Orleans because you got to wait till you're 25 to your eyes settle. Well,
Oh, wow.
Jameis
I
was
didn't know
having
that.
a super year down in New Orleans till he got hurt. Guess what? Got hurt by Tampa Bay. That's going to be an interesting game week 2. And Ralph, real quick, I can make a case, and I don't think there's too many teams. I can make a case for the Buccaneers being 4-0 or being 0-4 out of the gate. They got to go to Dallas, to New Orleans. They get at home Green Bay, and then at home Kansas City. That's a meat grinder.
That's a mean schedule. Yeah, it is. It is. Kansas City, Patrick Mahomes, they're always competitive, and that's going to be an interesting game as well. What are your thoughts on the Eagles? I know you're from Philly and all. Do you still keep up with the Eagles? What's your thoughts on them?
Oh yeah, I'm a member of the Tampa Eagles Club. Paul Perone's the president. He's also my executive producer for Night Sports Productions. And I'll tell you what, people are talking 12 wins. I don't see 12. I see maybe 9 or 10. But Ralph, that's not a bad season. I think if you ask Mike Tomlin, 10-7, would you take it now? He said,
right. Yeah.
Book it, Dano, because
we were only, Leo, the Steelers were only maybe 1 or 2 games short. If we would have beat the Lions and we tied with the Lions and maybe another game, we could have been ahead of the Bengals. I mean, that's how we didn't do bad last year with a makeshift offensive line and a Ben Roethlisberger who can stand like a statue. You know what I mean? But and I've argued this with some of my colleagues up here. They all said, "Oh yeah, I want Ben. I wanted to run Ben out of town after last year or whatever." I says he's done. I think it's over. And then he came back this last season, and I sat there and I said, "Well, you know what? Maybe you're right. Maybe it was good that we did have Ben because I think if we didn't, we might have been in trouble." I really believe that to be true.
Yeah, he gives you stability at quarterback.
Stability,
that's really what you want. And again, remember, I sat down here in Tampa Bay and Brad Johnson won a Super Bowl. So again, there are 3 things a quarterback's looking for: an offensive line, a running game, and a great tight end to go down the middle. If you got that, that's going to be a formula for winning. Because I asked Tristan Wirfs, who was the right tackle that was drafted, that in his rookie season didn't miss a snap in 20 games, gave up 1 sack. I said, Tristan, what did Brady tell you when you showed up? He said 2 things. Don't let him come quick. Don't let him come inside. And again,
there you go. Yep, exactly.
Tom Brady is the master of moving in the pocket. Now, he's not going to run a lot. He's not going to scramble, but he's going to take a step or 2 in one of those 4 directions to extend the play that way. And again, if you go back and look at the film of their game with the Rams, I give Raheem Morris so much credit. He ran, and again, Ralph, I'll explain it to your listeners if they don't know what I'm talking about. He put both ends in what they called a ghost 9. And a ghost 9 meant they were so far outside that they would rush the edge hard and the tackles couldn't anchor. They just had to push him around. Well, what that did is it forced Brady to step up. Guess who he's stepping up into? Aaron Donald. I tell you what,
That's it.
it
Yeah.
took it took the
Yeah.
Bucks a half to figure that out. That Brady needed not to step back, but he needed to step to the side away from Donald. Once they did that, that offense started to click. But yeah, it's I think that your division is going to be the most interesting one in football.
Oh, yeah, it is. It
Yeah,
is. The
I
interesting
don't
thing is Baltimore, Leo, they drafted like 8 guys in like the 6th round or something, and they got a whole bunch of beef. I mean, I wanted the Steelers to take Travis Jones from Connecticut. They got him, and then they got that kid from Minnesota, that Halawu, that Dan or whatever, that lineman, 380 pounds. And he's like a refrigerator. He can carry the ball, he can pass, he can catch. And I thought the Steelers should have took him as well because we really needed some offensive line help. But the Steelers took Kenny Pickett. We're, everybody up here is satisfied with that. I think Kenny Pickett's going to be a good quarterback. It's not going to be this year, God willing. I mean, unless Mason Rudolph or Trubisky goes down. And I said the Steelers were going to take or sign Trubisky. I wanted them to sign Winston, and a few of my other colleagues up here wanted them to sign Mariota, to come in here. But Mariota went to New Orleans, and now so we got Mitchell Trubisky. What do you think? You think Trubisky's going to have a good season with us? You think he can work it?
Ralph, I don't know. Again, if you're asking him to win games, probably not. If you're asking him to manage games, to get that running game going, to put his team in a situation to win, then I think you'll be fine. Ralph, I think the team to watch is Denver, because we're going to see how Russell cooks.
Russell Wilson does, yes. And with Nathaniel Hackett, he's an offensive wizard, man. His dad was even good when he was a coach, Paul Hackett. So, I mean, yeah.
I go back to those days of Paul Hackett and, Buddy Ryan. And
I know you guys got some – I know you guys had some coaches down there in Tampa, Dirk Coder. I know you guys had Greg Schiano, Raheem Morris. I can name a few of them down there. Which one of the 3 of them do you think you really would have, I mean, I know they all did poorly, but which one of the 3 of them were better than the other one?
Oh, Raheem Morris. Definitely.
Okay.
And again, Raheem kind of got stuck with the job because after they fired Gruden, and there's a great story to that I wish I could tell you. I'll tell you off the air sometime. But when Gruden got fired, Raheem had just went out and had a great interview, and the Buccaneers offered him the job. He wasn't ready. He'll be the first one to tell you he wasn't ready, but what's he going to turn it down? You're never going to turn down a job only 32 guys have. So, yeah, I think Raheem is the best. Cutter, same thing. He was ready to go somewhere else, and they got rid of Lovey because they wanted Jameis to continue his growth. Well, sometimes you make a bad decision as a GM.
Right.
And, we drafted.
I know there was a big coaching carousel down there after Lovie Smith was gone, and then and Gruden, and then you had Coder, and then you had Raheem Morris, and then you had Greg Schiano, and you had Dave Wannstedt down there, special teams coach. I remember that. Wannstedt was coaching at Pitt before that, and then he was in Buffalo, and he's been around Miami. And I used to drive a cab up here, and when you would met, and the Miami fans were here, if you mentioned Wannstedt or Saban, they didn't want to hear it. They were like ready to kill you because they hate both of them.
I don't blame them. They left them high and dry.
Yeah, exactly. Leo, thank you for being on the program today, and I'll like to have you back on again sometime. Thank you for bringing, your wisdom here. Tell everybody how they can get a hold of you and what you're into right now.
Okay, you go to Facebook and type in Amped Up Sports. We post a daily. I post Leo's Daily Memo. Peter's posting a lot of stuff he's doing. He's doing a Peter Perspective. And my baseball writer, Rob Creed, he's doing a game on Wednesday. Peter's doing Thursday. And we're basically, and again, it's a tough time of the year because the only thing you got is baseball. Football, basketball,
yeah, I know.
Hockey is shut down. So, we're dealing with that. But go to Amped Up Sports. Check us out. We're there. And by all means, anytime, give me a holler, Ralph.
I will do that, Leo. Thank you so much for being on here with your sports wisdom and knowledge and everything else. Tell Peter I said hello, and Have a great night and be safe, okay?
I will do that. And hey, by the way, we do a camp up there at Robert Morris. So you got
Mm-hmm.
to take me out for a Roethlisberger when I come up to camp.
Yeah, I will do that. I'll, let me know when you come around. I'll be more than happy to do that for you. Thank you.
Yeah, welcome to Moon Township, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Hey, you know what? I had George Takei in my cab one time from Star Trek. Remember George Takei?
Yeah.
And I had him in my cab, and he says, "How would you like to tell somebody you live in Mood?"
That's George. He's a funny guy. Hey,
Oh
Ralph,
my gosh, he was hilarious. He was so funny, Leo. I almost wrecked my cab laughing, taking him to the airport. It was so hilarious.
absolutely.
Oh
Hey,
my
Ralph,
gosh.
thanks for having me on. You stay safe.
Anytime, Leo. Thank you. Have a great one. Thanks.
All right.
That was Leo Haggerty, beat writer for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and also he does other sports as well. He's from Tampa, and it's great to hear him come on and talk with us about what the Buccaneers are up to. Comment section wide open as we continue Sports Corner tonight. I want to talk with you about the free dental program coming up August 5th and 6th down at the David L. Lawrence Convention Center. 8 a.m. start time. Please be there at 7 a.m. What they do here is they have a free dental clinic all the time, every year. And what they do is they have free dental. They clean your teeth. They do basic dental work. So head on down there and at the convention center, August 5 and 6. Start times 8 a.m. I'm not sure of the finish time yet. Tune into Sports Corner next week. I will have more details for you about the free clinic for dental. Also, don't forget July 23rd, the sponsor of our show, DJ Fun. Now, DJ Fun is a very good party and special event DJ. He has over 10 years of experience. Anytime, call DJ Fun for your party and special event. Now, DJ Fun will be July 23rd, starting at 11 a.m. He will be at the new West Mifflin Flea Market in West Mifflin, right across from the Allegheny County Airport at the old Sam's Club location. They are opening up a new flea market, $25 for the vendors. Stop by on Saturday. It starts at 9 a.m. And DJ Fun will be there, and you can meet him at 11 a.m. till 3 p.m. He's going to be there playing music, taking your requests, and having a blast. So don't forget to show up July 23rd also for DJ Fun. And don't forget to call him today, 412-545-4317. Party special events. Call DJ Fun today. Look, I'm telling you, there are DJs out there. They have 6 months of experience, and they're trying to charge $2,000. Don't call those guys. Don't even deal with those guys. Hang up on them. Call DJ Fun today. He has over 10 years of experience, parties, special events. He'll be more than happy to take care of you, and tell him I sent you. All right, let's get started here. It was great to have Leo Haggerty on. Possibility later on, we're going to have Jerry DiPaola from the Trib. He'll be coming on possibly to talk about PITT. Right now, let's get into some Steeler talk right now. TJ Watt just got married last few days. He married his bride or his fiance, Danny Rhodes. They got married in Mexico, and it's great to hear for that. Also, Daniel Archibong, the defensive tackle. He played in a couple series last year. You know, everybody played defensive line last year for the Steelers because of Stephon Tuitt not being there. So, but Daniel Archibong, defensive tackle, he's announced his retirement from the Steelers. Former Steeler quarterback Ben Roethlisberger, as you know, not happy at all with the new change in name and venue at Heinz Field. I want to hear your comments about the change in venue. If you watched my show last night, the way I see it, or check it out on the archive on my YouTube channel. And don't forget to subscribe here on YouTube and or like it on Facebook. Okay, we're on the Sports Corner page of Facebook tonight as well. So don't forget to like it as well. But what are your thoughts on the change in name? Is it something you like? I mean, I don't think that this, Aerosure, name is gonna work here. I don't think it will. But like I said last night, it's all about money. Okay, wherever the biggest money is, that's where the Steelers are going. And I understand that there was a guy someone who was the second, second in the running to get the rights for this, the name of Heinz Field to be changed. Okay, and what a lot of people don't understand is Heinz really doesn't do a lot here anymore. They have a little dinky office, as I mentioned last night, downtown. In their building. They no longer make catch or anything here. They used to make baby food and private label soup. They no longer make it here. So really, Heinz doesn't really say Pittsburgh. Okay, that's like Alcoa's changed their name. You got Smith Klein Beecham that has their corporate headquarters here, and they don't have any nothing gets manufactured here. Now, if somebody like Amazon, who has warehouses here and continue to build here, their corporate headquarters isn't here, but I would live with Amazon because Amazon produces jobs here. If there was a local group that could do it, where's People's Gas? I want to know where some of these companies were. And I know what you're thinking, UPMC. No. You know why? They got their irons in too many fires. Okay? UPMC has their name on the new basketball facility for Robert Morris. They have their name on the new basketball facility at Duquesne. So they're not going to, their name is everywhere. It's all over the place. I mentioned all this last night. Watch my show The Way I See It from last night. It was epic. I talked all about this name change. I talked about the money situation. And those of you who still don't understand what money does in sports, and sports is a big money game. It's not only just a big money game, but it's also all across the board now. Nobody wants to watch sports because a lot of people are getting away from sports, no matter if it's now. Look at what college has done. Now you have people changing conferences. You have players going here. You got players getting paid. Look what happened to Jordan Addison with Pitt. And now you got USC and UCLA changing conferences. You got kids leaving early. The NCAA doesn't care because they're making money. It's all about money. And that's it. Okay, that's what sports is all about now. So if the Steelers were able to get the best for their money, then that's what they are. And they're saying, and the Rooneys usually, except for maybe some players here and there, as a sports contributor to Steel City Sports World, Kelly Russell would say, liabilities or liabetics, more or less. Okay. There are people, the Steelers have done that, but I don't think they're lying when they say we have a new, sponsor for Heinz Field, or we have a new naming rights for Heinz Field. And therefore, what we're going to do is we're going to, be able to do the, the name change and be able to put stuff, maybe not have to go to the RAD board, the Allegheny County RAD board. Last time they got all over the Steelers because they had to give money for a new scoreboard and extra seats. They were really frustrated. The RAD board, which is the Regional Asset District board, they went ballistic, and there's a tax that they pay that there is for that, but they still went ballistic, and it was terrible. It was really awful, and it was an ugly situation. All right, Pirates 3, Marlins 2, seventh inning. They beat the Marlins last night, the Pirates 5-1. They have teams calling about Reynolds and Bettner. And get this, Ben Cherington says no, the big N-O, no. He says no, and that's good for the Pirates because now Bob Nutting maybe is starting to understand that that this is how we have to do this. You can't keep getting rid of your core players. How many closers did we go through over the years? You know what? Vasquez was the last good one we had. All right. We had Melanson. We had Hanrahan. We had some really good closers and we traded them. Now, with Ben Cherington being the general manager here, we don't have that problem anymore. And he's not going to give away the ship to get nothing but the fish and the worm on a hook. All right. So that's the way that is there. I don't think Reynolds and Bettner are going anywhere. And I like that idea. Speaking of Bettner, and I said this, and I don't want to hear from none of my other colleagues. There's two things I said. I said Bettner was going to the All-Star game, and I said Kevin Newman's getting traded. All right, and that's the truth. Now, I checked with three sources. Three sources. Okay, now listen to this. And I said this Thursday night with Smoke and Jim Frazier on PCTV, Channel 21 Comcast, 47 Verizon Cable, and you can watch the replay of our live call-in every Saturday at 5 p.m. on Channel 21 Comcast, 47 Verizon, and on PCTV's Facebook page. You can watch Sports Corner TV edition with my co-host, Smokin' Jim Frazier. And I said to Smokin' Jim, Bettner's going to go to the All-Star game. I said it's going to be Bettner and Reynolds or one of the two. And guess what? Bettner's going to the All-Star game. I'm batting 1,000 here, okay? And then on top of that, I said Kevin Newman was getting traded. I said that at the beginning of the year when the lockout was going on. And then I get all this slack from all my other media colleagues and some of my media friends. Oh, no, we're not going to trade Kevin Newman. No, they can't do anything right now. There's a lockout. No kidding. Okay, no joke. Excuse me. No joke. Okay, but instead, all right, now I'm right. I checked with three sources, and none of them, I'm not telling anybody any of them. I had one media person ask me, well, where'd you get that information from? None of your business. That's where I got it from, okay? But Kevin Newman is going to get traded. They've already talked to several teams. Ben Cherington's on the phone. The reason for this is not just because of the injury. Kevin Newman's a good fielder. He doesn't have a good bat, okay? And, you know, he's been around a while. And if we could get a couple decent prospect pitchers or whatever, and we have enough young talent right now, we don't need Kevin Newman. Kevin Newman is in a numbers game right now. We got all this good young talent playing. Castillo, we have O'Neal Cruz, we have Chavis, we have Hayes. We have all these guys that are doing, I mean, their bats, some of their bats are not good. All right. The batting averages are not good. The fielding is good. Okay. They're thinking dink hitters, except for maybe Vogelbach and a couple other guys. But what I'm saying to you is this, and now Reynolds is hurt. He's on a 10-day, injury. He has a oblique injury. So, Reynolds is on the injury list right now. And we have some nice young talent that can fill in for him. Marisnick is back. I think the Pirates are going to do pretty decent. I was one of the ones that thought this year was going to be a bust. But you know what? They're good now, but I've always seen them choke after the All-Star game. And April 2nd is the trade, or August 2nd is the trade deadline. So let's see what they do for that. Okay. And I can guarantee you that Ben Cherington is not going to give away the house on August 2nd or anywhere around that at all. So there we are. Bettner's our only. And then the Pirates acquired Yohan Ramirez from the Cleveland Guardians. Another. He's a pitcher this time. We got rid of that Yo Chang. He didn't last long here, and I'm glad they got rid of him because actually he was in a numbers game too, and he was somewhat of a bum. So that actually was no loss. We only gave up cash consideration. All right. Speaking of football, we talked this over with my guest that was just on with me, Leo Haggerty, and I'm expecting maybe perhaps Jerry DiPaola. He told me tonight he had another commitment, but he said if he has an opportunity, he's going to swing on here. So we'll see what he does. He has about 17 minutes. ESPN is reporting that Rob Gronkowski said under no circumstances he's back to play football. He's retired. He wants to go, and he wants to work with his family business. Good for him. I hope he does, because then he won't be a nightmare when the Steelers play Tampa Bay. Oh, my. All right, depends. Let's talk about the Pittsburgh Penguins. And I got to tell you, there's good news and there's bad news. And there's good news and there's bad news. It's been sort of a roller coaster for the Penguins right now. But Rust is signed. Letang is signed. Now, I'm not a Letang fan. All right? I think Chris Letang is overrated. I think the only reason he got this contract was because the last couple of years he's done okay. But here's something about Letang that really frustrates me. He does good in the regular season. It's like the how do I say this? All right, let's say the bride and the groom are getting married. Let's say all of a sudden they're going to get married, and then the bride don't show up at the wedding. Okay, he didn't show up at the playoffs. He was terrible. Okay, and the Penguins probably could have moved on, other than the first round bust that they've been doing lately. Okay. Ever since they won the back-to-back Stanley Cups, they haven't done anything. So what I'm saying to you is that Letang hasn't done anything other than what he's done the last 2 years. And he got this big contract, and everybody's going, oh, we need Letang. Oh, we need Letang. We need Malkin too. Okay, I know Malkin's an injury case. He's another one. But here's what I wanted to talk about tonight. And I said this to my wife earlier today. We need to talk about why Malkin was hurt all year long. Have I not said throughout all my shows, if you watch my shows consistently, have I not said that the Penguins need to get tough? All right. Steel City Sports World's Luther Dupree said it when we did the Year in Sports Review on PCTV. He said that. Okay. Smoke and Jim agreed. Jim Frazier agreed with me. Claudia Rosano agreed with me. Everybody that I spoke to of my media friends and colleagues all agreed and echoed the same sentiment that the Penguins needed to get tough, and they didn't. They did not get tough at all. Okay. They have not gone out and got some bruisers. If there was one bruiser on Malkin's line and one on Crosby's line, Crosby wouldn't even be getting these little knick-knack injuries, and Malkin wouldn't have been hurt the last several years. Okay? You see, nobody looked at that perspective. Oh, well, Malkin's been hurt, and he's now going to test free agency because he's not getting what he wants. Well, first of all, Malkin was hurt because of that. Because there was nobody there to protect him when he was getting thrown around and slapped all over the place and knocked in the head and knocked all over the place. Where was everybody? The Penguins couldn't even protect their own goaltender this year. Okay? All right? And I'm going to tell you this right now. Fenway Group is not going to put up with this. All right? They're the new owners of the Penguins. And a lot of people keep saying to me, well, Ralph, they're not going to clean house. No, they're not going to clean house. That's silly. But I'm telling you what they're going to do. Everybody's on notice. Okay? Fenway has a lot of money. Okay? They can bring in a high-priced coach in here that can do better than Mike Sullivan. All right? Barry Trost is sitting out there. Okay? Barry Trost has been to the Stanley Cup and he's won it. All right? And he's had good teams everywhere he's been. And he's tough. Okay? Remember, if you ever watched the movie Back to School with Rodney Dangerfield, remember when his son Keith Gordon went up to Burt Young, who was playing, Lou, his chauffeur and his friend and all that, and bodyguard or whatever. Okay, and Lou, and he went up and he was talking about how his dad got out of control and everything else. And he says, you know what? I've known your papa 20 years. He's nice and he's tough. Okay, the Penguins need to get tough because they're too nice. Okay? Do you see the point I'm making tonight, everybody? Do you see what I'm saying here? And that is that the Penguins need to get tougher because they're going to lose people and they're going to injure people like Malkin. His career could have probably maybe go more longevity. All right? And for the Penguins to say, well, he's only going to be here another 3 years and he's hurt all the time. Well, you're the reason why he's hurt all the time. All right? The Penguins need to look at themselves in the mirror and say, well, why was Malkin hurt all the time? Because there was nobody there to protect him when he was getting slammed around against the boards. And they don't have nobody to protect Crosby either. Do you know how many times I saw Malkin in fights in Penguin games? Many. He shouldn't have to do that. Back in the day, you never had to do that. All right? And the Penguins were tough back in the day as well because Lemieux wasn't going to get hurt like that. Do you understand what I'm getting at? So what I'm saying to you is this. Mike Sullivan needs to change his offensive game plan. He needs to understand. Look what he did to Ryan Reeves. Look what he did to some of these other guys, these big guys they brought in. He didn't want him here. He didn't get many playing time. He didn't want him around. Okay? All he wants to run is this run and gun offense. Well, I tell you what, it works when you have young players. They don't have young players. They have some aging players, including Crosby. Okay? Do you catch my drift now? Jeff Carter is an aging player. That run and gun offense is not going to work with these guys. You need to come up with some other way of doing things. Because if you don't, you're going to wind up getting fired because the Fenway Group's not going to put up with it. I told you they have deep pockets and they're willing to spend money. And there's no more Lemieux and there's no more Burkle to go to and go, yeah, that's right. There isn't. It's not there anymore. Okay? So there you are with that. All right, Kapison gets another contract. Now, I don't know why we even bother with this guy. We gave up a first-round pick for him. He's nothing but a bum, all right? And I understand that, the Pens maybe were desperate to sign him. Well, yeah, that's true. This was a desperation sign. This was a reach signing. They reached out and signed him back, And I thought they shouldn't have done that at all. But that's beside Heinen. He's not getting a contract, okay? And now he's upset, and I don't blame him because Heinen's a good player, all right? And Malkin's hit. Ron Hextall is having talks with Montreal about a trade. We don't know what the trade is yet. That's what my sources tell me. Number one pick is Owen Pickering, a defenseman. That's great. The Penguins need to stop just getting puck-handling defensemen. They need to get some of these guys that can knock some of these people around a little bit, protect the goalie, that kind of thing. Again, it's toughness. They need to get grit. They need to get tough, okay? That's what they need to do. Raquel, he got a 6-year contract extension, and Evan Rodriguez, he's another one pursuing the free agent market. And again, I don't blame him either. Other sports news in Pittsburgh, the Riverhounds beat Miami this weekend 4-1. And this Saturday, they play New Mexico United. The Riverhounds are doing pretty decent. They lost some bad, so they had some bad, sad losses that they, by one goal or something. They really didn't get slaughtered or nothing like that. So, all right, Pitt football's coming up. Training camp is coming up in August. And we're going to see what Clinton Slovis does as our quarterback. He's a transfer from USC. Nobody has us winning the championship again. And I have some other news coming up in my other sports news, which I'll come up in a few moments here. But I want to cover some Pitt news right now. Aaron Donald's nephew is going to be playing for Pitt this year. And so he will be as well. And his name is, hold on a minute. I got the wrong page here. There we go. His nephew's name is Elliot Donald. And guess where he plays? Defensive line, just like Aaron Donald. All right, so he does that as well. He'll be playing the defensive line. 2023 class of Pitt recruits. They have 5, they have 6, they have close to 10 athletes from Florida, but I'm going to name you 6 of them right here. Lamar Seymour, this wide receiver from Miami, okay, and then they have Jesse Anderson, safety from Fort Lauderdale, Tay Ray, Tay Ray, Tay Ray, offensive tackle from Opopka, Florida. All right. Montavious Lloyd, running back from St. Pete. All right. Antonio Cameron from Tampa, defensive tackle. Shadarian Harrison, Lakeland, Florida. That's that Florida connection that I've said many times that Charlie Partridge has. Okay. Charlie Partridge is our assistant head coach behind Narduzzi. He's been with us on and off for many years. And he just got a nice fat pay raise. They had to really pay good to get Signetti in here. I think Pitt's going to do okay. They have a reasonable schedule that favors it. Their first game is at the new field. The new name of the new field is, and I'll tell you what, it's Acrisure Field or Acrisure Stadium. Yeah, the new stadium name for Heinz Field. And that, I was cracking up laughing with a guy today, and we were talking about this, and I said, can you imagine? Well, actually on Sunday, and it's really sad, tonight's program, I got into this interview with Leo Haggerty. Tonight's program is dedicated to my close friend who just passed away, Joanna Vento. Joanna Vento is sister to the late Al Vento of Vento's Pizza over in East Liberty, and her church service mass is this Saturday at 11 a.m. is the memorial service for her at Eastminster Presbyterian Church in East Liberty, right by the Home Depot there. She was a great friend of mine, great friend of the church. And so I want to say to her to rest in peace. Tonight's show is dedicated to Joanna Vento. So I wanted to let you know that as well. So, but getting back to that, I was talking to a guy at the funeral home who was a cousin of Joanna's. And I was talking to him, and he's into sports. He lives in Arizona. He's from Pittsburgh. And I was telling him the new name, Acrisure Field or Acrisure Stadium. And you know what he said to me? He said, oh, well, it'll still be Heinz Field. But he also said to me, can you imagine what Bill Hillgrove has to say? And he has to say it twice because he has to work for Pitt, and he's the play-by-play guy for the Steelers. So can you imagine? Can you imagine if Myron Cope was alive still? Well, Acrisure Stadium. Yeah. There we go. All right. Yoy and double yoy. They shouldn't have changed it from Heinz Field. All right. I'm still going to call it Heinz Field. That's what I said last night because that's what everybody's saying. All right, next. Well, let's take a look at a few things here. The NFL, there's going to be some teams this year, and I should have talked this. Well, I did talk it over a little bit with Leo Haggerty about the BUCS wearing the old uniforms. Tampa Bay, Philly, Washington, New England, and New Orleans are going to wear throwback uniforms this year. So that's great to hear that. Detroit will do theirs next year. All right, so check that out this year, the NFL and the throwbacks. 49ers reports they're still trying to trade Garoppolo, but you got the word from Leo Haggerty that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are not interested. That is just a rumor. They are not interested in this trade, okay, for Jimmy Garoppolo, who everyone said was coming to Pittsburgh. And I knew that wasn't happening. I said Mitchell Trubisky, and that's where we are with that. All right, next we have Marion Barber, former running back, was found dead in his apartment, died of heat stroke, okay? Died of heat stroke in his apartment. NHL, former Pens and Ottawa goalie Matt Murray traded to Toronto. And I should have asked Leo about that as well, but I did not, and that's my fault. But college football, 12 schools going to join the Big 12. Wow. You know, the Pac-10 is getting broken up, and that's a shame, and that's because of USC and UCLA leaving. And, now the Big 12 is getting bigger, and West Virginia is leaving the Big 12, and guess who they're talking to? The ACC. So you could see Pitt and West Virginia really getting back to the backyard brawl if that happens. And I think it might. That just might happen because I'll tell you why. West Virginia has no place to go. The Big 12 is, is getting out of the way, of everything. So, so there we are with that. And I think that that's going to be a situation where we're going to have to just wait and see. But if West Virginia does come to, the ACC, it'll be great to see the backyard brawl once again back in order. I'd like to see Pitt get Penn State back as well on the schedule. But some of the schools that are moving to the Big 12 are Arizona, Arizona State, Colorado, Utah, Oregon, Washington. All right. That's just 6 schools that are moving to the Big 12 as well. All right. So we'll see what goes on with this realignment of these conferences, people leaving, going in different directions, doing different things. We're going to find out. Oh, and also speaking in college football, the Hawaii team, they used to be called the Rainbows. Now they were the Bulls. I don't know what their name is now. I did report on them last year about Todd Fraud Graham, who was the former Pitt coach, losing all his players. He was told to step down. So now they have a player who played for Hawaii as their head coach. Well, anyway, Hawaii will not be playing in their stadium this year. Aloha Stadium is being remodeled or being fixed up or something to that effect. It's a relic. Usually the Pro Bowl is there, but the way Roger Goodell's been moving and grooving with things, he has a draft in different cities, the Pro Bowl in different cities, and all that other stuff. So it turns out that perhaps we will not see the Pro Bowl this year at Aloha Stadium in Hawaii because of some construction. I am Ralph Williams. This has been Sports Corner. I appreciate your watching tonight. It's sad that we didn't have any comments tonight. I want to thank Leo Haggerty for being on here, Tampa Bay Buccaneers beat reporter. And, Jerry DiPaola, we'll see what happens with him. I know he did tell me earlier he had another commitment and was going to try to make it. And so we'll try to get him on another time. And I am Ralph Williams. This is Sports Corner, as I mentioned before, and we're here every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. live on YouTube and or Facebook. Also, don't forget to watch my archive versions on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe to my page as well so you can get all these shows as soon as they are done. They'll come straight to you if you subscribe. And also, if you like me on Facebook as well. And don't forget, coming up on Thursday night, 8 p.m., 347-205-9631. Blog Talk Radio, Wrestle Talk. Now, every Thursday now is Wrestle Talk on Blog Talk Radio. We retired the Black and Gold Sports Podcast, Wrestle Talk. you know what? Coming up in September, Talking Wrestling on PCTV, Channel 21, Comcast, 47 Verizon in Allegheny County. Spoke to somebody the other day, or at church on Sunday. He told me he didn't even know PCTV was in Allegheny County, and it is. You can get it in Allegheny County now. If you live in Allegheny County, if you live outside, you can watch it on YouTube or Facebook, my Sports Corner program. Every Saturday, 5 p.m. is my Sports Corner show on PCTV. But I will be doing a show in September with Smoke and Jim Frazier called Talking Wrestling, and we're going to be talking wrestling just like my friends Claudia Rosano, Smoke and Jim, and Luther Dupree talk boxing. We're going to talk wrestling because I'm going to be the wrestling authority here in Pittsburgh. That is right. I am going to be the wrestling authority in Pittsburgh. Nobody can talk wrestling like I can, and we will right here. We're also going to have Wednesday nights at 9 o'clock. We are going to have a Talking Wrestling podcast. It'll be me right here on YouTube and Facebook. That's coming up in September. So until next Tuesday, 8 p.m. right here, I am Ralph Williams. Have a good night and be safe.